All right, this is a very basic introduction to engineering graphics and the concept of multi-view drawings. Okay, we use graphics in engineering because it's a lot quicker to get across technical ideas. We can put dimensions and how things put together. You know, that's the whole idea of pictures worth 1,000 words. We can detail a lot more using um, a picture than we can with simply just descriptions. Okay, so that's really why we use graphics, and it's a key part of a lot of engineering when it comes to kind of describing how something should be put or whatnot. So we're going to just deal with sketching in this class. I have a whole class that you can take that is based on CAD, both two-dimensional and three-dimensional CAD. Okay, we're just going to do sketching, get the idea of a multi-view projection. Okay, so we're just going to be using paper, pencil, all freehand, no rulers or compasses or anything weird like that. Okay, and it's an important skill in engineering to learn how to sketch because a lot of times you're not at your computer. A lot of times you're just doing brainstorming and you're just throwing out ideas, and you need to represent what you're thinking about, through a quick sketch with somebody. Okay, so what we're going to specifically talk about today and get some information about is what we call a multi-view drawing. Of course, most things in the real world are in 3 dimensions. Okay, paper is only in 2 dimensions, right? So somehow we need to represent a 3 dimensional object in 2 dimensions, and we do that using a multi-view drawing. Okay, and to do that, we use a collection of multi-view drawings. So we don't just get length and width, but we can then rotate, look at a different view, get that depth, that third dimension that we're looking for. And the way we basically do that is using kind of this unfold box technique that I've got kind of right here, where you look at the front view and then you think about if I create a six-sided cube around it and kind of unfold that. In each face of the cube, you have a separate view that's only got 2 dimensions to it, either length and width, or depth and width, or depth and length, depending on which view you're looking at. So you'll have a front view, a side view, and a top view here. Okay, and the orientation of those is important. Where we put the front view kind of in the lower left, it should make an L. And then you think about unfolding that side view panel out to the side and create that side view. And then directly above, you'll have that top view. So those need to line up. They need to be front view, and then directly to the right is the right side view, directly above with all of those features lining up as shown. Okay. Now, as far as line conventions, the typical, any visible line we give a solid line to. Okay. Any hidden line is represented as a dashed line. That is a line that is hidden from view and you can't really see it. So, for example, like these holes that I have in these pictures here, they go through the object. Okay. But when I look, say, down at this hole here, the edges of that hole created an edge that can't be seen because that face is in the way. So we represent that with dashed lines there. That's what we call a hidden line, is if I have any edge that is not seen. Okay. We also have center lines, and the center lines basically let us know exactly that, where the center of a hole is. So we got two different kinds. If you're looking directly at the hole, you'll have kind of a crosshatch there. Okay. If you're looking at the side view or top view, the hole as it goes through, we draw a long dash, long line like this, representing, hey, this is where the center of the hole, this is a hole, this is a symmetrical feature that we're looking at. This is the axis that it's going down. Okay, with that. Okay, so how do we go about sketching these? Well, usually we start with the front view. We choose whatever's the most descriptive view, call that our front view. Okay, and then you basically kind of block out the rectangles that set up those views. Okay, and I'll do an example of this in just a second. Then you kind of lay out the features. Once you get kind of all the features laid out, make sure that those features line up between the two views, as I'll show you in a second. Okay. Okay. And then go ahead and add your dash lines, your hidden lines, add your center lines. Okay. And then there's going to be a lot of what we call construction lines. A lot of those, like blocking out the features and stuff, you do very lightly because ultimately you're going to go and erase them. Okay, so this is a multi-view drawing. Again, this idea of a front, side, and top view that we're looking at. So let's go ahead and take a look, and I'll do an example. So here's the object right here in represented in 3 dimensions. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call kind of this view here, that kind of tombstone looking thing, the front view. Okay, so again, I'm going to kind of just lightly lay out my front view in the lower left. Right, if I think about the boxes that I lay out, it'll look out something like this. Okay, so then the top view is going to be directly above it. It'll have the same width, but then it'll be the depth along this line here, right? So it has the same width as this. I'm just giving it that depth, and this will hopefully be more clear as I go through, which will look something like this. And again, these are lines I'm ultimately going to erase. Now, keep in mind that, again, I'm sketching, okay? But in general, these lines should line up. Same thing going in this direction. So now I'm looking at this side view over here. It's still going to have that same depth, but now it's going to have this height. So again, I can project these sides over here, okay? And then draw the side view like this. So again, that's kind of the outline of this side portion of the view here. So let's go ahead and put in that front view. So the first thing is I'm going to have this edge kind of coming straight across like this. That'll be somewhere about right here, okay? And then I'll see these edges right here that I can include as well, right here and right there. Okay, so that is basically these rectangles that you can kind of see looking at the view in this direction right here. The other thing I'll see here is this circle, and I can include that circle like so. Okay, then just the last thing is I need to kind of create this tombstone curve looking thing like so. Okay, so that is the front view of this object right here. Going up to the top view now, as I look down on this guy, again, I'm going to see this edge and it's going to go straight across like so. Okay, now I have this feature here, but from above it, it looks like this squared off U idea here. So there's going to be something like this. But now keep in mind that these line up with one another, right? Those features are lined up with that because these edges and this edge down here are equivalent. Okay. Now, again, on this one, remember I've got this hole here. That hole goes all the way through this object here. So if I look at it from the top, right, a cylinder or a hole like that is going to look like a rectangle there. But of course, this top surface is in the way, so I can't see the edges of that hole here. That's where I represent with a dashed line or a hidden line. I'll add the center lines at the very end, okay? So that is my hole represented in that view there. So I've got my front view here and my top view up here. Now, if I come over to the side view, again, I can project these over here, and I'm looking at this side view here. So again, now this edge here is basically going to look like an L on this side. This line, you wouldn't really see here, but that will look like this on that side view that I've got there. Okay, now thinking about this side view that I've got here, again, I've got this edge right here. I have this edge that I'm not going to be able to see because I'm not going to be able to look through that surface, but that edge is there. So again, I need to represent that edge. Again, that's the same as this edge up here, okay, as a dashed line or a hidden line right like that. Similarly, this hole, just like on the top view, is going to have hidden lines from the side as well, representing that goes all the way through like so. And again, at this point, I can come in, I can kind of darken these lines like this. Really make sure we see those visible lines. like so, and then kind of darken and everything. I'll go and I'll do a little bit of erasing. I probably won't get all the way through just because I don't want to waste a bunch of time on it, right? But that's basically what we have that we're looking at. That is the multi-view. Now the only thing I need to do is put those center lines in. I'll start with the hole here because this basically gets a center mark like this, and then longer lines out to the edges that the circle extends to, and just past it. So you have that, and that represents basically where the center of that hole is. And then I've got, again, that what we call center line bisector showing the axis of these here, which is just going to be long, short, long, and you go just past the edges of the visible lines like so. So again, you have a short kind of in the middle and then long like so. Represent that. Now, again, you can come back through, you can do this erasing. I'm not going to waste a bunch of time erasing it all, but you get the idea. You come back through, you erase, and there is your multi-view drawing. So that's how we do it. Again, remember that the orientation is important. You put your front view here, your top view directly above it, your side view directly to the right. Everything needs to line up. All the features need to line up going both ways. Okay, and then you include your hidden lines and your center lines and so on.